Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, go ahead and leave a 5-star review if you like what you hear. If you don't, do it anyway. Why not? What else are you going to do? I got some stand-up dates coming up. If you're in the Jersey area, I'm going to be back in the Jersey Shore August 12th. To do Bird and Betty's in Beach Haven, New Jersey. And then I'm heading to New Orleans August 13th and 14th, the Comedy House out there. Brand new club opening up. Excited to do 4 shows out in New Orleans. Then I'll be with Comedians of the Compound. We're going to Vegas September 10th and 11th. Comedians of the Compound in Vegas. We're going to be at the Comedy Works Club in the Plaza Hotel. And then I'm heading back to Texas, headlining Hyenas in Dallas, September 17th and 18th, doing 4 shows out there. And then Comedians of the Compound will be doing a stadium in Lakewood, New Jersey. I think it's the Blue Claw Stadium. And then I'll be in Santa Monica, California, baby. It's going to get interesting. October 22nd and 23rd, the Broadway Comedy Club West, doing 4 shows out there and always putting together more dates. So if I haven't named your city, tweet at me, tweet at your favorite club. These clubs do see your tweets if they're with it, if they're hip. You know what I mean? I'm going to bring in our guest. I'm so excited to meet him. He comes heavily recommended through other guests that you know and love, like Carrie Smith. So I'm so happy to have him here today. He's a YouTuber. He has a new podcast. You may know him as a social commentator. You might know him as a walkawayer. He's many things to many people. Mike Harlow, hello.
Hey! Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. You look just like my gay best friend in college. His name was Chris Taggart. God, he is hot. I haven't talked to him in years. I haven't talked to him since like 2005, but
is he retarded?
Was he retarded?
No, is he libtarded?
Oh!
Is he one of those people who stopped being friends with you?
Probably, yes. Yeah, probably we met through like college theater. So yeah, definitely. God. But I was that way too. I was a libtard until like very much so.
I think I was actually listening to a podcast of yours the other day, and you were talking about how theater people are a cult. And I was like, thank you, because I thought I was the only person who saw that.
Yes. Can we talk about this? Yeah, the cult known as high school and definitely college theater. I mean, any sort of theater clique is going to be culty for sure. Yeah, it's just, and I noticed it early on because when I was in college, it's like you couldn't be just a person who wanted to do comedy or a person who just wanted to do theater. Like, no, you had to be a theater major. You had to like do everything. You had to A+. You had to be in every category, or else I don't know. They just were like, "Are you really committed? You're an athlete." Like I got that. Shade.
Oh, they're insufferable. No, I didn't do any of that in school. I was like the guy in the parking lot smoking with like a switchblade.
How dangerous.
But no, theater gays are the worst gays.
Were you a theater gay?
No, I mean like, okay, like, it's in my DNA that like I have to like a friggin' show tune or two. Come on. But no,
I mean, it's almost like being, not loving show tunes. It's almost like being a gay conservative. Like how dare you? That
would be a step too far. I can't be gay conservative and not like show tunes.
I never understood. And there's, again, always been this pressure to, like, if you're an improv person, I remember there's always pressure to, like, love musicals. And then, of course, love musical improv. And the musical people, like musical improv people, are even more deranged than regular improv people.
And a lot of those improv people are nuts too.
I was like, not everything is a song, okay? Get a grip.
When they start singing, oh God, you've probably experienced this when you're on the subway and you're like half drunk at like 4 a.m. and you're on the train with these friggin' theater people and they start belting out like friggin' Memories or something. And it's like they'll try to outdo each other and see who can belt more.
Yeah.
And then they'll start, and it's great when it's like 2 of these theater girls on the train and they'll start like critiquing each other's pitch. Oh, it's so good.
It's like none of you are going to America's Got Talent.
When they sing, it's like the equivalent of some guy like jerking off while looking in the mirror. You know?
I'd rather that. I would rather that. They take themselves very seriously. A lot of them overestimate their talent, and there's just a lot of that. And I feel like stand-ups tend to like, well, there's a lot that overestimate their talent, but I feel like the really good ones definitely like underestimate their talent.
You know what's
But
funny? A lot of my my leftist former friends from when I was still a liberal did improv, so we probably know so many of the same insufferable
yeah,
people.
and you're in New York. You're like a New York City boy, right?
Unfortunately, that's the thing. I was born here and I've always lived here, so now I'm kind of trying to plot my escape.
Yeah, like I'm sure you've been thinking about it for a while, but now with the new mandates, is it like
I think this was
why?
sort of the nail in the coffin for me, but it's just hard. Like, it's hard because, not just me. I know a lot of people, like, we have families, we have lives, so that's sort of kind of what I've been stuck with. I don't know. It's sort of been my plan for a while because my apartment is kind of falling apart. So I've been kind of apartment hunting for about a year now almost and can't find a place. So I'm kind of taking that as like a sign from God that I should get the hell out of here.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. If you end up in Florida, like go say hi to my dad. It's
Are they in Florida?
yeah, yeah. My family's kind of like all over. Like I'm really like the only one left in New York, other than like my dad's best friend who one time accidentally sent me a dick pic. That's like the only family
Oh,
I really it's
how did that
scandalous.
happen?
I don't know. I don't know. It happened like definitely at the beginning of the lockdowns, so it's like I know that he was feeling cooped up, but I just don't know
I don't think it
how
was
you
an
can do
accident,
that's
Chrissy.
what everybody says, that's what everybody says, and I was, like, really, like, a big WTF, and, we're okay now, but it's like, I can't unsee what I saw.
Oh,
Uh
was it at least okay, you gotta describe the dick. Like, was it at least
Oh,
picturesque?
thanks, Frank. I'm gonna look up this article. The dick was like not bad for like an older guy. Again, like if this was a stranger, I would be like, okay, not bad. But now I knowing that it's my dad's best friend, it's kind of like, I
I
don't
think
know.
it's better that way than if it were like a spectacular dick and you were
Yeah,
like, ooh, like that.
you have to
You
always
don't wanna go
think.
down that rabbit hole.
You have to think like if it was spectacular, man, I'd really be in a pickle. And it's like you have to think like if
Literally.
I threw myself at this man with everything I had, would he push me off? And I think the answer to that would be no. So there
Oh
you go.
god.
I don't think he would have gone for it. Wait, let me check out this article. Okay, not to make this about me, Mike, but I this article just came out about my boycott of New York City mandated clubs, and I'm gonna
Is it a hit piece or is it
subject you to
friendly?
it. No, this might be good. Okay, Chrissie Mayr boycotts
Hollywood
vaccine
Toto?
only. Yeah, yeah. This is he's a good dude.
Okay.
Christian Toto writes this. Chrissie Mayr boycotts vaccine only New York comedy clubs. Comedian clashes with the mayor's edict. Yeah, I'm the mayor now. Suggests other comics silently back her. Ooh,
Silently, that's the problem.
yeah. And that's the thing is like I tweeted this out yesterday. So in light of de Blasio's announced mandates, I will not be performing at any New York City venue that requires vaccination for entry. I will not participate in segregation by vaccination status, whether you're vaccinated or not. I encourage all performers to stand together. I'm a blast on stage, but no amount of laughter is worth your freedom and privacy. People should not be coerced, shamed, or intimidated into a medical decision just to have a night out. This is what real authoritarianism looks like. We need to stand together. And what I've been noticing, like
Yes.
since yesterday, like a lot of comics are pussies. It's like they're either pussies
Mhm.
or they're so dumb, and they just will not wake up until it's literally too late. So
No, I've been hearing that for a long time. My friend Mark Hughes is an amazing comedian in Canada, and he's like probably one of the most canceled comedians
I
there.
think I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, you would love him. He's great, but he's always saying it's always other comedians who
Yeah.
cause problems for him that are canceling him and stuff. It's terrible.
It's wild because what I'm seeing in subtweets is like basically a lot of like kind of lesser comics being very excited, like, "Ooh, now's my chance," like collect
Yeah.
all the spots that like Chrissy wasn't gonna do. And it's like, you are missing the point. Like you like if we're all enslaved under medical tyranny, like you're not gonna have it's not gonna be the way you think.
No, and that's what makes things so difficult at the moment is that this authoritarianism is supported by the people who are supposed to be artists. Like, you know, it went from Rage Against the Machine to Kiss the Machine's ass. Rage on behalf of the machine.
Yeah, I remember, Mike, you were saying in a previous interview I was listening to, you were just kind of disgusted with the corporate response to Pride, which I started to really notice. Like, I hosted a show at the Stonewall Inn for 6 years, which I stopped doing in like 2019. So
Good for you.
even though that well, I loved it. I really loved doing it. It just got to be too much, and I just had too many projects coming up, and I was like, okay, I have to let this go. Also, the guy I was working with was like a huge pain in the ass, but I just was like, you know what, it's worth it. I was willing to bend over backwards. But the point is, like, even years ago, I was seeing this. I was like, the corporations are sinking really too much into Pride in a way that like is not authentic. And I know in an interview you were like, yeah, we don't need corporations now. Like, where were you guys in the 90s when we really could have used help?
Because they care so much, don't they? It's because they care. Citigroup is your friend.
Yeah.
That's really what all of this is about, is to just put sort of a happy rainbow smiley face on top of corporate authoritarianism, which is what is happening. And I think if people aren't, oh God, and don't get me started on, so I don't know about, I don't know like what you consider yourself, but for me, I'm really not, I don't consider myself a conservative. I think it's just
I think I have too many porn star friends to really fit in that group.
And I'm too much of a degenerate whore to be part of that group.
Yeah.
But I think it's only because things are so crazy far radically left that people like us are considered conservative. But the conservatives and the Republicans drive me crazy with the fact that for so long they'll talk about standing up to government power, but you will never hear them talk about standing up to corporate power. And that is every bit as much what's needed right now, because what we're seeing is really sort of the fusion of big government and big corporation coming together. These corporations at this point are basically becoming state actors, where they don't even need to pass laws. You know, if every business won't allow you to do anything, then they don't really need to pass laws. If you can lose your job for either not getting the jab or for, even in so many cases, having your own opinions and speaking your mind, the government doesn't really need to do all that much.
Right, and they don't need to overstep and get into trouble.
Although they're doing that now too.
Well, big time. But like, I guess not as blatantly. They can just, I don't know. It's not as in your face to those that are like deeply brainwashed. So,
and I think that's part of, to go back to gay shit.
Let's go back to gay shit.
Story of my life. I think that's really, if you look at all of the indoctrination and stuff that's happening, especially with kids, I think it's because that's sort of an easy way for them to grab kids early and indoctrinate them into this ideology. Because, it used to be that it's really, you look at it when some group is in alignment with every single corporation, with every single bank, Citigroup, hedge funds, all of them, you're not oppressed. So it's really, it's really like $1 billion industry, the alphabet industry. And it's always been in the past that LGBT people are really only like 5% of the population, which is friggin' depressing for my love life, but it's just a fact. So I think that's why there is such a focus on gender now with them, because everybody has a gender. So that allows them to have their hand in every single cookie jar and get everyone. That increases their market share really from 5% of the population to 100%. Now they're in your kindergarten, they're in your preschool, they're in your locker room, they're everywhere. And I think that's really just a way of like hooking kids early and being like, you might have gender confusion. Hey, child, you might be a lesbian.
Also, it gives them access to a wider range of celebrities. Like, whereas before, like, right, they would have to get a gay or a lesbian celebrity on the site. Well, now you can just be like, Demi Lovato, aren't you pansexual? What are you this week? Are you demisexual? Like, whatever you are, just pick one from this chart. We'll put a press release out. We got you, girl.
Ugh. Don't get me started. The demisexuals and oh my God. I knew that. I used to, back when I was a liberal, because you know how, like, I had this friend who was like a straight white male, which you're not allowed to be with them, of course. And he was like very immersed in being around all the SJWs. So he decided that he can no longer be a straight white male. So he decided on the day of Pride that he's going to come out as demisexual. which I had to look that up. Oh, and there's a flag. There's a flag. He wrapped himself in the flag, which I had to look up what that means. It means you only like people that you're emotionally attracted to.
Oh, so he's a chick. Okay, got it. How original.
And then he like ripped me a new one on, it's terrible how you speak about the LGBT XYZ LMNOP semicolon ampersand square root sign symbol community.
And like getting back to your point about like Citibank, it's like, really, Citibank, are you really going to be there for me when I come out to my dad and he kicks me out of the house and I'm sleeping in my car for a month? Like, really, Citibank, are you going to help me set up an account when my parents cut me off because they can't handle my.
First of all, I kind of hate my parents for being accepting. Like, I wish they would have cut me. Like, I could have, some conversion therapy could have done me good, because I don't want to have to date these friggin' people. They're horrible. They're insufferable.
You're like, they could have been a little harsher.
I know. Like, giving me like a little jolt or something.
I feel like, Mike, you're particularly brave because you were sort of, ousted, and this is leading up to like how you got involved in the WalkAway movement, but you were like, you grew to have these opinions that don't go along with like being a typical gay male. So you're ousted from the left, but because of who you are, you will never be accepted by the right. And which means you don't fit on either of the two teams, and we're not allowed to even have a third option of a team. Everyone, you laugh at the idea of a libertarian or a third party. So it's like you're out of the left, you can't be accepted by the right, and then when it comes to social media, you don't exist. Like, your accounts are getting deleted left and right. And I think what you are, Mike, in terms of being sort of like politically homeless, not fitting a mold, that's most people. Most people are not hardcore right, hardcore left. Most people are in the middle. And I think they try to erase voices like yours because you represent the majority.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's so frustrating. It's so bizarre to me because I feel like I'm really boring. I feel like my views are very middle of the road. Like, I should be considered an independent, but I feel like I'm always getting banned. I've been banned from Twitter. I just got banned from Instagram. I got banned from ZocDoc.
Is like, for documents?
No, it's like a website. It's like you use it to make doctor's appointments. I think I used it once. I got an email.
Banned from ZocDoc?
ZocDoc.
Oh, so it's like a resi for doctor's appointments or something?
But
like Open Table.
It's crazy. So yeah, so it sucks because, like, when they ban me, I make new accounts, and it's like all the work that you've put in to try and reach people, you're always starting back from square one. So
when did your censorship problem start?
Oh God, I got permanently. So I think I might have the title for being the most banned person ever on Twitter. So they've permanently banned me 3 times, the same account. I fought them and I beat them twice, and then they permanently banned me a 3rd time. So that was maybe like a year ago or something. I just got banned from Instagram last week. So
why were you banned from Twitter, and then why were you banned from Instagram most recently?
I wish I could tell you, I shared the real information. I know what I know. It was
the documents, yeah.
With Twitter, I used sarcasm. I jokingly said "burn the witch," in defense of someone.
Oh, I remember that. That was for somebody's video. I saw that. Yeah.
And with I'm suspended from Facebook again for the same with Facebook and Instagram. They've kind of just been loading me up with fake violations for months, like a picture of me with hate symbols. So now I'm banned for multiple violations. But no, I honestly, the thing I think that's been really surprising to me is that I have really felt very embraced and accepted by the right, which I never would have expected. There's this like so now that I'm back on, I made a new Twitter account finally a couple months ago. And I think what I learned since I've been back there is that there are all of these arguments and fights that I would never know about if I wasn't on Twitter. I think if everyone just unplugged from Twitter, we wouldn't.
It's very much its own little bubble. Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's this very loud minority of people on Twitter who are like, gay people shouldn't be Republicans and all that. But that's just really not something I've really experienced in real life. So yeah, that's something I never expected, because I was that asshole my whole life who just thought all conservatives, all Republicans, all Christians are just horrible bigots, homophobic, racist, all that. I was that asshole, and that's because I didn't know any of them. Like, I think those sorts of opinions will always come from ignorance, and that's what it was for me. It wasn't until I got to know people, and that was a big thing at the beginning when my views started changing, was I started meeting people. This was in like 2016 or so. I started meeting people who were for Trump or who were conservative, and I really liked them.
And you're like, I shouldn't like you, but I like
you. It sort of made me rethink things, and then also seeing how insane the left was.
It's a good reminder that like social media is not reality. Like the job of the news and the job of social media is to polarize, is to make you feel alone. The media never represents the people. It's showing you what it wants you to think. It's showing you, it wants you to be panicked and confused and glued 24/7. So it was nice that when you sort of like stepped away a little bit, and similarly, when I started going to Trump rallies is when I met real MAGA people who I had heard so much about. I'm like, wow, I've been here all day. Haven't met a single toothless hillbilly. I've just been meeting tons of super smart, diverse, all types of people that just really love this country. Like the best, not to sound like Trumpy, but like the best people. All of the
They
people
are
so good. I was blown away. I was so impressed by how smart and cool and fun and loving everybody I met was. And I was like, oh, wow. It took me going and seeing for myself to know that I was being fed a lie.
No, and another thing that was so shocking to me in the beginning, the first couple of like conservative sort of events that I went to, was like how diverse the crowd. I'm like, oh my God, there's
incredibly
black people and gay people and every type of person. And that's something that's really made me kind of happy in all the events that we've done with WalkAway, is like you look out at our crowd and you will see every type of person imaginable. You'll see bikers, you'll see grandmas, you'll see punks, you'll see every type of person imaginable. So I think that's really kind of what's happening, is all sorts of different people, politically homeless people, whoever, coming together. And it's at this point, I feel like it really should just be like the radical left versus everyone. You know, I mean, I have friends who have this big thing of like whether they're a libertarian or they're a Republican, and I'm just like, we don't have time for this shit. You know who isn't separating themselves off? You know who is totally united? The left. So let's just beat the damn commies first, and then we can worry about all this other shit.
Right. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. When did you, and I totally agree about the WalkAway like protest, because the first one I went to, I think, was in November, and I was blown away by like how it was like probably the more diverse there than like any place I had seen before. I was so impressed. How did you start to work with WalkAway?
So I was kind of there from the beginning. That my friend Brandon, we had met, and he was telling me he wanted to make some sort of video, and then so we got talking about it more, and I sort of helped him with it and shot it for him, and then it just became WalkAway. He was like, he told me his whole plan. He's going to make it a campaign for other people who feel this way and feel like they can't speak and have no one, and they're just alone and losing friends. But it was totally Brandon. And for the first year, because I was scared, I never sought this out. I never, it sort of just happened. And it's still something I feel very conflicted about, the whole politics thing. I feel like sometimes we don't choose our path chooses us.
Absolutely. I totally feel that way right now.
So for maybe, seriously. So for maybe the first year of it, I didn't really have, like, I made a WalkAway video eventually, but I didn't really have much to do with it. And then Brandon sort of came to me with an idea that we were going to do this LGBT town hall, which was just sort of everything I've always wanted to do and say, and the things I've always thought, because my entire life, even when I was a liberal, I felt like a total outcast amongst gay people. Even when I had their same politics, I just, on a deeper level, had nothing in common with them.
Wow.
I mean, other than one thing.
Other than the one thing we all love.
Yeah. So anyway, he was like, do you want to do this with me? I was like, hell yeah, I want to do this. And for some reason, I was very naive that I didn't expect it, but it blew up into the shitstorm of all shitstorms. It made national news. The panel, it was 4 of us. It was a gay guy, a gay Jew, a transgender woman, and a black gay veteran. They came out with where they were white supremacist, homophobic, transphobic. They came out with this whole press release, the Alphabet Club. We're responsible for violence against women, black people, gay people, transgender people, Jews, and Muslims.
Wow, everybody.
We put the Jews and Muslims together.
Multitasking. Wait, who were the people that were on this first panel at the town hall?
It was me, Brandon, Blaire White.
Oh, Blaire, yes. Yeah, I just had her on yesterday. Oh, my God.
Oh, really? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's my girl.
I love her. Man, yeah, she's cool. Yeah.
She's amazing. And also for me, like, you know, we're friends now, but at the time she was like such an idol to me that just to even be able to be on stage with her was.
Oh, yeah. You're like, don't let them know I'm a fan. Oh, my God. Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up suing them for defamation. But we're Nazis. They called us everything, canceled our event, so we just scramble last minute and find another venue, and we managed to pull it off. So yeah, at that point, kind of, it was just like the toothpaste is out of the tube for me. There's no going back to my life before. So not that I would be able. That's what I try to remind myself though. Whenever I feel like, why did I get involved in it? Is like just the type of person I am and the type of person you are too. We never would have been able to just go along with this shit, even if we wanted to, you know?
No, it really gnaws at you. And it's like I always say, like, life is hard. Like, it would have been really hard to pretend I was okay with everything. It's really hard to fight for what you believe in. So it's like, what is the hard that you can handle and live with?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, if everything's gonna like crash and burn, I'd rather go out like fighting than just like be a little bitch and not stand up for myself and others. But that's cool that deep down you always knew. You were like, I am not fitting in with this group, even when you shared the same ideas.
God no. God no. It's funny because it's like we're led to believe that if gay people come out, like you'll be welcomed with open arms into this rainbow club. No, what it's actually doing is throwing them into the jaws of a shark. It is anything but. And for a lot of people, I think, for me, I've always been pretty resistant to it. But I think for a lot of people, like the values and behavior that they encourage and instill in people are so toxic, are so detrimental. And the thing is, the alphabet industry will tell you, oh, that's because of homophobia. Well, we're living in the least homophobic time in human history. So why is it then that as homophobia has decreased, all of these other negative things have increased amongst gay men? Addiction, depression, self-harm, STDs, all of them, they're going like this. So that should kind of show them that maybe, no, it's not homophobia. It's you are the problem.
It's like, maybe it is Citibank. They're not there for us. Where were you? You should have been there with a condom and a prep. So it sounds like what you're saying is like when you come out, it's almost like you're sort of given, in a sense, like marching orders in a sense, or like, here are these beliefs. What do you feel like consciously or unconsciously are the ideals or the actions that you're sort of fed as someone who just comes out or wants to be like an active,
obviously,
ally
be a Democrat, be a leftist, agree with everyone. Here's the music you can like. Here are the hobbies you can have interest in. Here are the interests you can have. Don't have relationships. Party your life away. Bang everyone. Do all the drugs. It's fabulous. If there were a straight guy who was in his 40s, totally alone, going out every night, clubbing every night, banging people, drinking every night, like every single person would look at him as a tragic cautionary tale of a man-child. But when that person is gay, we're told then that that's fabulous. And it's not.
Wow, that's
this
so
is the lie that gay people have been sold. They have been fed poison, really. That nobody will tell gay people the truth. Nobody will tell them that the behavior that's encouraged by the alphabet cult is the road to a miserable and lonely life.
It is the road to a lonely life, and it's the same lie that they sell women. It's you glamorize never having true intimacy. It's cooler, it's better, all of it. Like from the time I was like, yeah, from the time you're a teenager through your 20s, like don't settle down, don't settle, like have somehow unreasonably high standards for a man, but like never actually taking a look at yourself and seeing what do you bring to the table, like what's your toxic shit and patterns that you need to fix. But yeah, like never settle, don't just reproduce, you're so much more fabulous than that, like, oh, don't let anything get in the way of your brunch, but yeah, not pairing up,
friggin' brunch,
not making it work. There's so much in our culture, in our music, that tells us to just throw a person away at the first sign of conflict.
Yes, that's so true. And I think maybe the reason that it's been so particularly toxic to gay men is that at least with women, you're being fed this, but it sort of goes against your natural instincts. The problem with this with gay men is that it plays into every natural instinct that men have to just be degenerate whores. That's who we are.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's been so effective and so detrimental and so toxic to gay guys in particular.
Do you think a lot of gay guys do sort of wake up one day and they feel I don't feel like there's any such thing as being too old. Like you can always find a soulmate or somebody who you're meant to be with. But do you feel like a lot of gay men who are kind of fed this lie do wake up one day and maybe they're later in life? Or have you met folks like this where they're just like, oh, damn, like I'm really lonely. I wish I hadn't tossed away, so many years partying or.
I hope so, but I'm not even sure. I mean, I think gay people are so lied to that I think a lot of them are that age and still think this is cute. God, even when I was really younger, there would always be like those old people alone you'd see them at the bar every night. And I'm just like, God, that's my nightmare. I think I'd rather be dead than be like that.
Rather dead than alone. Yeah.
No, but it's because, God, I mean, especially it's like the entire ideology of the alphabet cult that you're just told, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. And then it's like, trust me, they love themselves. Like, and then we wonder why there's an entire generation of narcissists. And these people have never once been told in their lives, hey, maybe respect yourself.
Respect yourself. Yeah, I do.
I definitely not to sound holier than thou, because God knows I'm a friggin' whore and a half. But
right,
there are other things in life too.
Well, yeah, like I would say we probably are good on self-esteem, sort of like culturally for everyone. We're good. We're good. Let's work on self-responsibility. Let's work on self-respect, like you said. Let's work on making your bed. Stop being so much of a hot mess and have some like loyalty. I don't know, working your problems out. Maybe can we glamorize going to therapy for like a year or two? That would be fun.
Well, and that's another thing is that then they're all drugged up on pharmaceuticals. So like that's the thing about everything that's happening now is that all of these issues are so intrinsically linked. It's not just the politics. It's not just the culture of degeneracy. It's not just all of these things are the corporatism. They're all linked with one another. I think like I did a tally. I was like the last, going back years, the last 8 guys that I've been involved with were drugged up on pharmaceuticals, antidepressants. Wow. It's literally everyone I meet. And this is a subject people do not want to talk about. Like, I think more so than any subject I've ever discussed in my life, people do not want to talk about this.
Do you think
there is an antidepressant crisis and no one wants to acknowledge that?
And do you think, I mean, I would believe that, but do you think it's particularly targeted or glamorized somehow to like the LGBT community or like gay men, specifically? Because this is a lot. I mean, I don't think I've ever dated somebody who I knew was like on an antidepressant or on really anything other than like, something fun for the weekend that would eventually wear off,
You're smart. See, with me, I'm such a dumbass that like once I like someone, I'm all stupid and like I don't care.
Oh, please! I dated like a 5-foot-tall bartender for 3 months because he looked like Robert Downey Jr. And he had a record player. I was like, sold. Let's do this.
Oh, did he live in Brooklyn?
No, he lived on the Upper West Side, and it was like his bar. He was like one of. he was like part owner or something, and like I was like, oh, he's cute. And I realized that like he built the bar. The bar was on a platform so that when he like stepped down from the bar, it went from like hi to like, oh my God, we're the same height. Jesus Christ. So but by then it was like too late. I was like, well, I can't be a shallow bitch now. Let's date him for 3 months.
But no, this is just something I've seen over and over. I think the first time I noticed, the first time I became aware of this, I was in maybe like my early mid-20s, and there was this guy that I was like in love with, and we would spend every day together and all that, but he would get weird when it about, you know, anything more than that. So I finally confronted it, and I was like, you know, I kind of find it impossible to believe that you don't feel the way I do. And so he says to me, he's like, no, I do. I really like you, but I can't be with you because I'm on antidepressants. So I can't really feel love. I can't feel happiness. I can't feel sadness. I just feel numbness. Everything is gray. And I was like, then what the hell is the point of being alive? And since then, it's just been this constant reoccurring thing in my life with people. I had a roommate who was, and here's the here, this should be my disclaimer, because like I said, people don't want to hear this because everyone is on them. If you're, you know, there surely are people who are helped by it. If you're someone who's on them and helped, then this is not about you. This is about people who are wrongly put on them. So you can sit down. Because that's the thing is these doctors, and this is related to, like I said, it's all linked. This goes back to so many things now with pharma and everything that's going on, is you have these doctors that are just drug dealers, that anyone has the slightest little problem in their life, here's a prescription for lifelong supply of drugs. We will turn you into a lifelong customer that they are very difficult to get off of.
They get a kickback. Yeah. They're like, they don't get to see that person every day. They don't know how it's like really, truly affecting them. And it's like, right, if we have a nation full of people on drugs, it's like they numb you out from feeling. And meanwhile, all in our media is like, feel your feelings, be who you are, speak your truth. But it's like we're being numbed from our truth by big pharma. And it's like, that's the thing, is like feelings are important. Like, sadness is important, anger is important. It tells you what to pay attention to in your life. So if you can't feel sadness, anger, anxiety, that's why it's like I have a terrible anxiety problem, but it's like I'm not going to take an anti-anxiety medicine because I'd rather like figure out how to live, you know, fix myself, you know, to the best that I can, if I don't like need it to survive, you know.
See, if I were like super tinfoil hatty, I would say that like maybe it's intentional, and the point of it is to make everyone. I mean, I don't actually think that, but I don't think it matters to them.
It doesn't hurt. I mean, it doesn't hurt the cause if that is a thing.
But I mean, you know, I had a roommate who was put on antidepressants because he had a bad breakup. 3 times in 6 months afterwards, he tried to commit suicide. Never did that before in his life. You know, the last guy that I liked was on antidepressants, antipsychotics, tried to commit suicide multiple times after. So. And people don't even, he, you know, as soon as I told him maybe that's a sign it's not working, his therapist told him to stay away from me, and that was the end. So people don't even take a sec. And I mean, like I said, it's all linked. So, you know, look at everything that's happening where it seems like there's no such thing as logical thinking anymore. People don't even think about how sick it is to take something that is called antidepressant that makes you try to commit suicide. I can tell you what happened to me. So, sorry to ramble about this.
No, I love it. I'm pro rambling.
So I feel like I've kind of had ADD my whole life, and I just never really.
We're all same. Yes, I passed the test with flying colors. I think I took the test and I got like double the score. I was like, oh my God, I've never passed anything like this in my life. Like higher than my SATs. Wow.
So I was like, you know what? Let me just go to a doctor. Just like, I don't want medication, but I just want to see what my options are. Like if there's some natural shit I can take or whatever. So I went to a doctor for it. I was there for 5 minutes. Long story short, I told them I don't want hardcore medication. She's like, oh, well, we can give you a non-stimulant and you just take this, and didn't tell me anything. So I look it up afterwards. They call these non-stimulants because that sounds so non-threatening. I looked it up as soon as I left. It's an antidepressant. Never told me that. Never, the word depression never came up.
Right, because Adderall is a stimulant, and we're starting to hear like why that might not be the best thing to be on for ADD, because it makes you kind of crazy. It's like you do come down from it. It like I used to be on it. It's not ideal. It makes you a little nuts.
Really? And I mean, God, I've seen what antidepressants do to people. But so I was like, okay, obviously I'm not doing that. So I went to another doctor yesterday to get a second opinion. She lied to my face. I said outright, I was like, I abhor antidepressants. I am not taking antidepressants. I am not depressed. I don't want it. I just want to know what my options are for managing this. She goes, okay, well, we can put you on this medicine. They go, we can put you on medication. It's called Wellbutrin. It's not an antidepressant. And I was like, okay, you know what? We're going to Google right now. So right there, I took out my phone. First thing that comes up, Wellbutrin is an antidepressant. Lied to my face.
It's a medicine, Mike.
Then lied about another one that was an antidepressant. And I said, I'm like, I am not depressed. I don't want them. And she says to me, she's like, well, I think the fact that you're so resistant to them shows how badly you really need them.
What?
Then she suggests another medication. And I'm just Googling right there in her office. And I've been there less than 5 minutes. Didn't know anything about me. Didn't do any tests. I look up the next medication she suggests. It's an antipsychotic.
Whoa.
So then another one she recommends, it's a sedative.
Oh, so because you must be psychotic for turning down an antidepressant. I understand now.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, I'm psychotic in all my own ways.
but in the fun, cool ways. Yeah.
But I mean, I can't believe that. So, because we wonder why are so many people hooked on heavy mind-altering pharmaceuticals? This is why. How many people would go to a doctor and look at that? Oh, trust the experts, that it's an authority figure, and trust them and just take it without doing any of their own research. And then once you're on that shit, I've had people in my life that I've had to watch get off of drugs like this. It's not easy by any means. And then they're hooked for life. Ooh. It's so horrible what's happening. And you can trace all of the things we're going through now with all of this shit and the total corruption of science and medicine can all be true. Everything is linked what's happening right now. Again, if I was going to be tinfoil hatty, I would say that they're all in on it.
Of course. I mean, of course, like the best thing I ever did was like when I started to question how the world works was just to simply like follow the money and like who is making money from this situation every time. Just keep looking up and up and up. And then whoever's at the top, like, yeah, that's who they're looking out for, not the people who have to buy or ingest or stick themselves with said thing. It's to line their own pockets and maybe other more sinister agendas.
Just the fact that there is such a thing as the pharmaceutical sales industry, their role should be to make you healthy. They should not be getting paid to drug you up on as many things as possible. Like, it's just so normal to us. There are commercials on TV. Ask your doctor if you want this medication. No. It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
But it's normal to us. They again have just put this happy, friendly, smiling face on Big Pharma, and we are poisoning ourselves. We've become a nation of prescription drug zombies. And again, if you're helped by it, cool, whatever. There's some statistic out there saying that like 5% of people on antidepressants actually need them.
Of course. And you can always find examples of people whose lives have changed for the better for being on any medicine. Like there's somebody who's like, no, this made me better. And great. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about the people like just to deny basic truths, like your diet, how important your diet is. It's like someone's like, oh, I'm tired. I'm lethargic. I don't know. Am I depressed? No, you haven't had a vegetable in a week. Like, let's start there. How much water are you drinking? Are you getting outside? Are you breathing air? Have you pet a dog? Are you in a toxic relationship? Like, let's.
And you know what else? I quit smoking this last year, so I gained like 30 pounds.
Congrats.
Horrible. I gained like 30 pounds. I think.
Like, excuse me, this is not from the lockdown. This is from quitting smoking.
Yeah, seriously. But now they've closed gym they closed gyms all last year, and now you need to get the jab if you want to go to the gym. So it's like
even Planet Fitness.
Either smoke and be thin or not, and not go to a gym and be fat.
Right.
It's so terrible, and I'm sorry. I'm not like I was on tour with WalkAway for almost all of 2020, all during the lockups at the height of COVID. I'm fine. I'm not getting it. I don't want it. I'm somewhat young.
Same. I was touring doing like comedy all over the country, like really for maybe 2 months between like March and May. I didn't do any gigs, but then I've been steadily, I've been everywhere, on planes, shaking hands, same thing. Like I opened for Adam Carolla in May, and he's like, yeah, I've been shaking hands. He's like, I'm shaking hands. I'll lick my hand. I'll immediately start eating, and then I'll shake more hands. Coolest, funniest, best guy ever.
Oh, I love him. I'm actually I'm starting a podcast with two friends of mine that's kind of inspired by the old Love Line show. It's gonna be about like
I used to watch that all the time.
Me
That's
too.
Great.
On it.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. But yeah, like that just goes to show you we were both everywhere. And it's like I didn't even get a cold. Like I didn't even get like the sniffles. Like, yeah, I'm good. It's like
no, and everyone I know who's getting sick were the people who were like COVID Karens and staying inside and wearing masks and all that. So at first I thought it was just luck that I didn't get sick or that you didn't get sick. I don't think so at this point. I think there's some, you know what it's like? Have you ever met these like kind of hypochondriacs, or it's like these people, it's almost like some sort of Munchausen's that they
you attract it. Whatever you're obsessed with, you attract, like whether it's drama on social media, drama in your life, chaos in your life. It's like absolutely you bring in more of what you are obsessing about and trying to fight rather than like
that's why
anybody who knows it's like if you're worried about being broke all the time, just practice saying to yourself, like, I have everything I need. Abundance is coming to me. Like you focus on what you want to bring into your life. But if you're constantly obsessing, like, I don't want to get sick. What is that? What is that? What is that? It's like you're going to get sick. Like you're going to bring it on.
I've seen that happen with multiple people that like they'll always invent some ailment for themselves. I'm sick. I have this, and then eventually they end up getting sick for real. And no one believes them at the time, but then they really do get sick. I think it's kind of like that. And it's like, I mean, did you hear that thing in Australia where the woman said, even if you're vaccinated, even if you wear a mask, don't start conversations with people. If you see your neighbors, don't speak to them. You've been led to believe that. And, you know, the thing is, the situation is already dire enough just with the times we live in that social media has really hacked our minds. But now we've been led to believe that human connection is non-essential, that in-person conversations are non-essential. Having any sort of human connection is non-essential.
Yeah. Meanwhile, everybody's on drugs and feeling isolated.
Take your antidepressants.
Yeah. So
by the way, since the lockup started, antidepressant prescriptions are up 600%.
Yeah, I wonder who's cashing in on that. That's incredible.
And this is why I can't stand Republicans, by the way, because I swear to God, if I hear them say, it's like, I'm sorry, this isn't the 1980s anymore. If I hear them say one more time, oh, government should just stay out of it. Yeah, that would be lovely, but government isn't staying out of it. So while that is happening, we need to use all of the tools in our toolbox, all the power that we can to fight back against this. And we need a lot stronger laws on a lot of things, on all of, because you know, we're just living in different times right now. Some of the biggest threats to our liberty are not always coming from government.
Yeah, they're coming from corporations, and it's like
Pharma.
It's like you have to like acknowledge where you're at and not be like, "But the pipe dream, but ideally we shouldn't need this." It's like, okay, great, but like, let's look at where we're at. And,
let's crush the commies first, and then we can worry about the size of government.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for these super chats, John Sertich. Thank you. Sometimes people put questions in here. Ed Grant, just throwing in dollars. No one's got any questions. They're just listening to us. I'm loving it. Everyone's like pro. Oh, here's one. Steven Suarez. I wish Chrissy knew more gay adult film stars to talk to, but I'm liking Mike here.
Do you want me to like start doing porn or something? And I can.
I mean, if you could, that would be great. Then I could check off all the boxes.
I wish. I feel like, by the way, that's just something I need to accept that I'm gonna have to deal with. Is these guys that you go out with, and then they have an OnlyFans or they have something like that.
Tell me about this. So you date like the guys you're trying to date all just have OnlyFans?
The last 2 or 3 did. Or God, one of them had like OnlyFans sort of thing, but on a Twitter account. So I'm like, you're not even making money. So you're not just a whore. You're a stupid whore.
I was going to say, like, okay, did you lose your job? Like, I have some friends who lost their jobs and started to like make pretty sweet bank on OnlyFans. So I understand that, but.
Good for hey, I wish I didn't have like whatever that I could never do. I wish like. Not that anyone wants to see that, but
I know, same. People are always like, when are you making OnlyFans? I'm like, you guys, you dudes that want this OnlyFans from me, do not realize it will be another job. Like what has to happen to like just buying more clothes. It would be so much more work.
I have a friend who is very attractive, but people are he said he's a lawyer. He said he's going to start an OnlyFans giving shirtless legal advice.
Okay, I would subscribe to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's exactly in the chat. They're saying exactly what you're saying, Mike. Like COVID is making people more polarized. People are getting fearful of the variant, while others just want the pandemic to end. And they keep thinking that obeying is the way out. And it's like there's been a lot of obeying, and the goalpost is constantly moved.
And that's the problem. You know, I wrote on Twitter the other day, I was like, you know, I think this is the nail in the coffin for me, and I got to start planning my move to either Texas or Florida. And I got all of these people that were like, you should just fix New York, stay in New York. And I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Says the person who left New York 6 months ago. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry, not to do my own, but I feel like I've done more. I gave up my entire life and everything that I knew.
I'm sorry, I lived on a bus for a year, you know?
Yeah. But the problem is, and the problem has always been, that the vast majority of people are totally compliant. The vast majority of conservatives are totally compliant. That's just the fact of it. And the thing is, I don't see any will amongst New Yorkers in mass numbers that would be needed for anything to change. And the thing is, too, I've been saying this for a couple of years, but it's not just in New York, but in every blue city. There is no Republican Party. The Republican Party has totally given up, washed their hands. They do not even try. There's no opposition. And, you know, just in my lifetime, Giuliani, we've had Republican mayors, senators, governors. About a decade ago or so, they just gave up on every big city. And, you know, it's funny because so many people that have told me over the last year, oh, Republicans won't win in New York. There's no point in trying. Those are now the same people telling me I got to fix New York.
Wow.
So I honestly think, maybe this is naive, but I honestly think that if Republicans over the last year would have...
Uh-oh, you muted yourself, Mike. Oh, no. You muted yourself, Mike. Your whole rant. I meant to. He's going into a passionate rant. I was like, I can't hear it. Can you guys hear it? Oh, no, your mic. No audio. We're going to fix it. Let's rewind it back. I really want to. You were like really making good points. I could tell by your face. I was like,
Sorry, wait. And okay. I just unplugged my mic because I thought that was the problem, but apparently it wasn't. Hold on. Okay.
So if Republicans over the last year had really stepped up, you don't think we'd be in this mess?
I think if Republicans would have really pounded the pavement, knocked on doors, gone into these neighborhoods, I think they could have kind of woken up a sleeping giant, changed a lot of minds. I mean, first of all, look, the biggest population of unvaccinated people in New York are African Americans. So I think there are a lot of them that these things make sense to, which, by the way, again, it just goes to show how stupid Republicans are with marketing because, you know, I don't make the rules. Following their logic, wouldn't that mean that this vaccine mandate is racist and systemic racism and white supremacy?
Exactly. It only suits them when they need to pull it out. It's not logical.
Sorry, wait. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. You're great.
We're
doing great. We're doing great.
Okay,
I'm sure I'm freezing too, like left and right.
I thought it was my battery was dying.
Oh no.
No, it's not. I just was like, stop plugs.
Tell me about the WalkAway tour. Was it like nonstop? Who were you on the tour with? Where did you go?
I was amazed. I think we were in like 20, 30 cities, something crazy like that. We had all different sorts of people. So the main ones were me, Brandon, Shamika Michelle, who you should totally talk. Oh my God. Do you know Shamika? She's amazing.
No,
she's just the funniest, most ballsy, most outspoken person in the world.
Her name is Shamika Chanel?
Shamika Michelle.
Oh, Michelle. Okay.
Oh, you would love her. Brandon, Blaire did some with us. Jack Posobiec did some. Like, we sort of just had as many people as we could. And it was really crazy. I got invited to the White House and asked to participate in the RNC, which, by the way, is funny. I had all these people bitching at me on Twitter about, well, when you move, you better change how you vote. I'm like, you want me to vote Democrat? I'm like, my profile picture is me at the Republican convention when I was invited to.
Oh, they assumed because you are a gay that you are a Democrat.
Of course. Oh, Twitter.
Oh, Twitter.
But no, it was amazing just getting to meet all these people. And a lot of them, you know, I would have so many people coming up to me and like, there were a couple people who came up to me like in tears, saying like, my family, I escaped communism. This is what I'm seeing. This is how it started there. You're promised all these things. It sounds so good. It sounds wonderful. And I had, in particular, I had a couple gay people coming up to me saying that like they always thought they were alone and that they're the only ones who, so it was just honestly like the most amazing experience ever to get to do that. And you know, there have been some issues the last months, but WalkAway is really relaunching in a big way in the next couple months.
Good.
They're building their own platforms because they got banned from everything, like not
everything, just like Facebook. Even your Facebook was banned, and that's what I think part of your huge censorship woes come from. They're just trying to nab everybody associated with WalkAway.
Yeah, and I think what it is with them too is like, you know, I mean, obviously they banned Trump and but I think their strategy is they maybe don't want the pushback of banning a lot of the very well-known people, and they're kind of looking at just like who's growing quickly, who could be a threat in the future, get them and crush them before they can even reach anyone. But yeah, so no, but they didn't just WalkAway did. It wasn't just getting banned from Facebook or whatever. I mean, they got banned from banking, from payment processors.
Oh,
so
boy.
What they've spent this whole year doing is building their own platforms that are totally independent from big tech and from leftists. So their own social media, their own payment processes, their own web hosting. So, and you know, hopefully this is a model that right-leaning people will follow instead of just I mean, how many people have we seen that they get banned and they just fade away and they don't really do anything?
I'm waiting for Parler.
Oh God! Oh, yeah. I can't stand these like conservative sites. By the way, like Parler sucks.
Parler at a moment in time, and then it just got
the knees crushed. Looked like some kind of AOL GeoCities 1996.
Oh, GeoCities. Yeah.
Live journal.
Yeah, I mean there are so many apps and platforms now. One might say too many, but I feel like they're trying. I feel like there are efforts being made to have a life outside of big tech. But that's exciting that WalkAway is working on something.
Yeah, it's also, so that'll be probably launching once Brandon's case and stuff is resolved. It'll probably be launching right afterwards in the fall.
I was supposed to interview Brandon like the day he was arrested. I was shocked. No. Yeah, because I was like, it was freaking wild. Like was it going to be his second time on? It might have been the second time he was supposed to do the show. And I was like, he's not. I was like, he's definitely not a flake. I was like, where is he? What's going on? And then I just like, I don't know if I got a text from him or I like saw tweets or news, and I was just like, oh shit. It was wild. So
no, I didn't know that.
I know he's been like under a lot.
It's crazy. I mean, and that's, again, I mean, God, there's so many problems with the right. It's like, where do you begin? But I mean, they don't stand up for their people. They don't really do anything. Like, it's like their biggest concern is just not rocking the boat, not offending leftists, not, you know, appeasing people who already call you Nazis and murderers and white supremacists. And they try so hard to appease them. Even with me personally, you know, whenever I get banned, I'll kind of try to reach out to some people I'm friendly with who have connections with those companies. When you get banned from something, everyone disconnects. They lose your money.
Oh no.
So and the thing is, I don't say that for personal. It's not about me. I just think that that's so emblematic of a bigger problem on the right. That's why we lose.
Right. It's like we shouldn't be worried about rocking the boat. It's like we should be building a new boat. We should be getting off of the boat. Like, why are we still on the boat? This is not the only boat.
Ark.
Yeah.
Donald's Ark.
Donald's Ark. Oh my God. Yes, only two redheads. We don't want it to get too crazy.
Not Kathy Griffin. She can go somewhere else.
Oh Lord. Yeah. using the fact that she got lung cancer to promote the jab. Oh, I know it would have been so much worse if I hadn't gotten the jab. You don't know that. There's
They
no way
keep
you
saying that.
know
People
that.
keep saying that. There was someone else. Who was it? There was someone else
There's
who got
no
COVID.
way they're not paid to say those things. It's too forced sounding.
Oh, did you see that tweet that was going around that like 100 different people were clearly paid to post about like
I just left the emergency room. Yeah.
The last guy that I liked, whose shrink told him to not see me, I saw he posted on something that tweet to show, oh, how horrible this is happening. So I just sent him the montage of like all the
everybody
of it. He blocked me right after.
I just left it. You can't all have just left the emergency room. Really? What flavor of Jell-O was there? Oh no, you can't tell me because it's bullshit. Okay.
It's so, I mean, I don't understand at this point people who can't see what's happening. I mean, they're not just blind, they're willfully blind.
I think it's like if you spent 4 years truly being pissed and truly believing you were part of the resistance, that now it's just like they're only a year into their like victory lap, you know, like they're still just like, I'm gloating. My team won. I won. Like, I'm not being censored. I can say all the most horrible things about Republicans, conservatives, Trump, anybody in the middle, anybody who's not a radical leftist. It's like, what? I'm not, you know, it's like the robot from Westworld. Like, oh, it doesn't look like anything to me. It's like they're just, whoop, they're not in this reality. They're in their own little safe space.
No, and I honestly, looking back, I think that was probably the biggest mistake that I made in 2020 in terms of trying to change minds and stuff, was assuming that any of these people mean anything that they say, or that they actually even 1% care about the issues they claim to care about. Because if they did, if they really cared about mass incarceration or war or foreign policy or the war on drugs or any of these things, or even, they talk about, oh, the alphabet people. I mean, look at Biden's record. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you hate gay people, so I'm going to vote for the person who banned us from getting married and serving in the military and said we're threats to national security. I'm going to vote for the person who passed every crime bill that locked people up forever. That's the thing. Maybe if it were somebody else, at least if it were Bernie Sanders or someone, there would be an argument to be made. Mm-hmm. That would be at least a vision for the country or whatever. But this is the only person who's ever been elected based on nothing but hatred of one person and ignorance and propaganda. Oh my God, did saying that like get you thrown off? Shit. Have I just like do I have to vamp now? Chrissy, come back.
I'm back. They cut.
Okay, good. I'm like, oh my God, did I get you banned?
Get elected in quotes. I was kicked out. I was no, it happens sometimes. I don't know if it's like my cord or what. It's very interesting because you were a very passionate Bernie bro, and even you weren't?
I don't know. So my views were really starting to change around the primary in 2016. Okay. I think that was like what sped it up was I'd always really cared about politics. I volunteered for Obama.
Yes, you were very much into Obama, and then you were like, I guess, did you sort of default?
I had his poster on my wall. I
think a lot of us did. A lot of us were like, he's handsome, and we just kind of fell for it. And like, I was young and stupid and wasn't like looking into things in 2008. So
I do think though that once you get burned by a politician once, if you're smart, you won't let it happen again. Because we were all so burned by Obama. The things that he was saying when he was running, probably if he said a lot of them today, they would still sound good. And then what did he do when he got into office? He sold out every single person who voted for him. The people who robbed this country blind and tanked our economy, instead of going to jail, he put them in charge of the economy. But no, so into the 2016 primary, I was just really trying to educate myself on who to vote for, Hillary or Bernie, which makes me feel dirty even saying that. But so I was just trying to educate myself on who to vote for. And I learned that whichever one of them I learned something negative about or had any sort of qualms about, I would be called every name in the world by people who had known me for years, said, no, I was a racist suddenly, I was a sexist, I hate women, I hate everyone apparently. So that was sort of and I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I still hated him, but at that point, by the time
I didn't either. Yeah. I was
by
like,
by the time of the general election, though, I was so turned off by the left and Democrats that I just voted for some like third party.
yeah. Wow. And so even just asking questions about like Hillary or Bernie got you a wave of hate.
Oh yeah, even just saying things like, remember that time with Bernie Sanders when they took over his rally, they took over the mic, and he let them. So I remember saying to him, I was like, I think if you're not strong enough to have control of your own rally, you're not strong enough to be president. Oh, I was a white supremacist. I was a Nazi.
Wow.
I was a racist. But then if I had once I started educating myself about Hillary's illustrious record, I hate women, I'm a sexist, so there's no winning.
Yeah, there's no winning. And it's not, it really is not about inclusion and love, acceptance. It's about bullying. It's about power. It's like you understand how old people get to be like surly and crusty and hate everybody and like hate every politician. Like, oh, this is how it happens. Okay, I'm well on my way to being crusty.
Oh, same. And I think it's because most people are not these words that it has said that these words have such power over people, and people are so afraid of being called these things: homophobic, racist, sexist, all these things, because most people aren't. So that's how they're able to control people, is through fear of being called these things, of them branding you that. So that's just something I've always said to people, is that, there's no such thing as an insult. Something is either true or it's not true. And if they call you these names and that's not true about you, it still won't be, no matter how many times they say it. So they only have the power that you are willing to give to them.
Right. We forget. It's like the whole baby elephant that's attached to a leash, like in a stake. He's in a circus. I don't know. And then he's a big elephant. And he doesn't realize that he can just like bust through the leash. The old thing, right? That's how they train elephants when they're like baby elephants. A little elephant. It's like got a leash on its neck, and it's like attached to a little thing. And the baby elephant's like, all right, I guess I'm leashed up. But then when the elephant grows up, it doesn't realize that it's so strong and it can bust through. It's just been trained to not bust out of its little leash, when really it's like, you're a freaking elephant, man. Like, we're all elephants.
Elephants.
Yeah, we're all elephants.
But they don't realize that.
We can just bust through. We can just bust through this,
That's the thing. If every person who was genuinely against all this shit would just be totally outspoken and speak up and not comply, this would be done with already. If businesses would incur a penalty for something like requiring masks or requiring the jab, this would be done with. If people wouldn't use that business, wouldn't shop there, wouldn't give them their business, this would be done with by now. But that has always been the problem, that people who are against it won't do anything.
Quiet. Yeah. They'll be like, oh, I don't want to be called names. Like, I don't want to lose friends. I don't
want to have a crossword with some Karen at the grocery store. Well, you need to.
Yeah.
And I really think that once this thing ramps up, because I know for me and probably a lot of people who are stuck in places like New York, like, even if I want to move, I don't know where to move to. It's going to take some time. So when this thing starts, I think what we really need to all do is just have some sort of coordinated non-compliance en masse.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because they
can't, by the thousands, all go to a place where they require it. Like, they can't throw out thousands of people.
Yeah, well, I know that there is some kind of a thing planned for Monday the 9th.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go.
I think I'm gonna go too. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see. Let's hang out. Let's get brunch. We'll see what the turnout's like there. It'll be like, yeah, well, like, this is an opportunity to see what New York has got, and who comes out, and like, we'll just take it day by day. It's like, I'm never one to like lose hope, and maybe it takes something big like this to really inspire people to rise up. Like, maybe just you have to get very uncomfortable to move, and I think a lot of us have just been too comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've had so many people arguing with me the last day or two about this. I mean, it's shocking to me. Like, I got into an argument with a Jewish person who was in favor of this, and I'm half Jewish, so how any Jewish person can support this this, you know, an entire group of people being asked for their papers, or I guess everyone being asked for their papers, really. How people can't put two and two.
Yeah, it's like, wait, do you not remember there was a thing?
Yeah,
years ago. Yeah,
it's really depressing, and I really think that you know, I mean, that's such a component of things like this, and I really think that's what's happening, is demoralizing people.
Yes, for a whole year and a half of being shamed.
Oh God, that was the thing. That was the thing too, is, you know, from about May or June until about Christmas time almost, I was traveling all the time. So I was a little bit inoculated from all the lockups and stuff. So it was really difficult to deal with then, that, like, you know, not just what happened with the election and the 6th and all that, but then coming home, and then for the following months, there's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. I mean, even though they didn't still have lockups, there was no indoor dining. There was nothing was open. Like, in the middle of freezing winter, like, it was just, really screws with your head and really demoralizes you, that you go from traveling the country to being locked inside, and there's nowhere to go and there's nothing to do. I think that really, if the goal isn't to break people's spirits, they've sure done a good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these are just like people with no problems. Like, a regular, healthy, normal person is being pushed to the brink. Like, imagine the effect it's having on people who are already having trouble, like, mentally, physically, spiritually.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that they are not even part of the discussion. I mean, since the lockups began, 1 in 4 young adults under the age of 24 has contemplated suicide. Domestic violences, child abuse, addiction, all of these things have so massively increased. Like I said, antidepressant prescriptions are up 600%. And you can't even acknowledge that. You can't talk about the 100,000 deaths of despair. You can't talk about the deaths of suicide. There was this woman who I think was like 90-something years old who committed suicide when she heard there was going to be another lockup. She said, I can't do another lockup. I won't. Wow. I can't do it. But you can't even talk about that. They are not even part of the discussion.
Wow, and you can't be like, no, there, you can rewatch MASH. Come on, there's something, there's stuff to live for, Grandma. Come on, like, there's horny guys still at the nursing home. You know, just put yourself out there. There's Werther's Original. There's so much to live for. That's very sad. Suicide is very sad.
Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She Wrote. Hello. Cheers. No. Charles Hurst. Hi, Chrissy. Just got home and tuned in. You have got to get Yeonmi Park on your show. Her story is fantastic. Yes, I have to get her on. I agree with you. She is she like escaped North Korea, and I've seen her on Michaela Peterson's show. I think I've seen her on Jordan Peterson's. I think she's been on TimCast. Yeah, she's been everywhere, and she's like the real deal. So I got to get her on.
Yeah, amazing.
I got to get her on.
So I think those are stories we need to get out there of what communism is, how it happens, what it's really like.
Yeah, because so many of us like have just no clue. Like, we're sort of being like nice. Oh, it's polite. Oh, you have to care about other people. It's like, it's such bullshit. It's like we're being pressured and bullied under the guise of like, this is the polite thing to do. And it's like, no. Like, giving up your freedoms is not polite. It's not the right thing to do. It's not like being protective of others. It's like smoke and mirrors.
You know what's so funny too is that so first of all, with the masks, I swear I'm allergic to them. Like, I don't know why. It gives me anxiety to put it on my face. I just like start panicking.
Well, you can get the ones that are basically like fishnet stockings.
Oh, I have that.
Are like completely useless.
First of all, the only time because at first, I don't know about you, but at first when this stuff happened, the first couple weeks, I was as fearful of anyone. I was afraid if I went to the corner store, oh my God, I handled the dollar bill. I got to wash my hand. Like,
did you wash your groceries?
No, I wasn't that nuts. But no, the day that we were told that it's perfectly fine for Black Lives Matter to riot by the hundreds of thousands was the day that ended.
Weirdly, no one's getting it. You can riot. Did you know that you could riot a Foot Locker and be fine? But if you go to a different kind of protest at the state capitol, you're not allowed.
Yeah, the only time I was like, I will never put that thing on my face again as long as I live. The only time I will are on airplanes because I don't know another alternative. But
Just like the ones that are useless, you know, like
That's right,
that's got to be.
Yeah. But I won't do it other than that. I want, you know, if there are 2 grocery stores near me, one requires masks, one doesn't. So I won't shop at the one that requires them. That's what
that's the way it should be. Give people a choice. If the market really wants, the market will decide, right? Like, just don't
But the problem
take
is
people's options away.
The market itself is so brainwashed. The people who make up the market won't really do that. They won't make these little sacrifices. You know, if you want your liberty, if you want your freedom, there are little things that you're going to have to sacrifice in order to not comply. Maybe shopping at your preferred store, walking a little bit further to the other grocery store is a sacrifice you can make. I'm sorry, but there are people who've sacrificed their lives. You can walk an extra 3 blocks to Seatown, you know?
Yes. Go to Seatown.
But no, this woman at one of my events came up to me and she said, I think I had said in my speech about, God, I don't know why these masks just give me such anxiety. And she said, she's like, I know exactly why it is. I feel the same way. She's like, I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And when I put this on, it reminds me so much of when my ex-husband would put his hand over my mouth. That's what it feels like.
It's psychosomatic. It's literally a muzzle. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I mean, do you remember maybe like 3, 4, 5 years ago, it was sort of this like talking point on the right that they were like, oh, they're going to bring Sharia law to America. They didn't need to. We did it to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you just cover up the most important. You covered up the part where the freedom comes out. Or your butthole, depending how you look. It's my freedom hole. I can't cover up my freedom hole. That's great. I have to make
That's all I'm calling it from now on, by the way. You want a freedom job?
My boyfriend's going to be like, let me see that freedom hole.
Give me a freedom job.
Give me a freedom job. Matthew Hammond, you need to contact L some black now. She is L hates you a lot on Twitter. She discovered Maidengate. She's organizing people against vax passports.
What's Maidengate?
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to check it out.
Maidengate. It sounds
Maidengate. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does. It sounds mysterious. Yeah, you know what? There's people. I believe in people. I think we're gonna rise up.
Do you?
I think it's better late than never. You know.
True.
I know what I'm willing to give up. So
that maybe this is unfortunately what's needed to get people to shake people and wake them up and be like, you know, the things that you think can never happen, it's here.
Yeah. Right. It's like at this point, can you really call everybody a conspiracy theorist? You know, it's like, what's left? What's left that hasn't come true?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny, just the things that we even know about that were conspiracy theories. I mean, they're all proven true.
Yeah.
I mean, even go back to the Iraq war. It was a conspiracy theory that Iraq didn't have weapons of mass destruction. Who sold the war to the American people? It was the media.
Mm-hmm.
See,
you're so smart, Mike. I'm so glad I had you on.
I feel like I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but I'm in the box at least. So that's
you're in the box. You're sharpened. You know what I mean? You're in good shape. Your wrapper's still on. You know.
You're amazing. I honestly not to sound like I'm kissing your ass because you have me on a show, but like. It's unfortunate that it's so rare and refreshing to see an artist who will have principles and take action and put their money where their mouth is and put principle over their own self-interest. And that's exactly what you're doing. And you're amazing. I wish more people would do that. And I hope people will support you.
Yeah, thanks. And it's like, I just was thinking like, I weighed the pros and cons. I'm like, what is the ultimate good of this? And that was worth like what I was gonna lose. And it's just, for me, it's like, yeah, I don't know, because I see where it's going. So it's like, I don't know, a lot of comics are pussies though, but we'll see what happens. Okay, one more quick from Matthew. L found out that people from out of state were either voting in multiple states or someone was voting in their name. This L person. L hates you a lot on Twitter. Okay,
who's L?
All right, I don't know. L is this person that Matthew really wants me to get in touch with. All right, I'm gonna check her out. Thanks, Matt. Okay, Mike, where can people find you, follow you? What is coming up?
Please follow me because I am starting from
nothing again. He's starting anew.
So My main thing, so first of all, I have a YouTube channel, which I just kind of relaunched. I'm going to have a new video this week. It's sort of like, it's not just politics. It's like sort of, actually, you're such an inspiration for me because that's kind of what I want to do is incorporating different things, funny shit and stories and politics and all that. So
awesome.
I have a new video coming out where I made my big burly straight guy friend watch Rent with me and we tear apart the politics of it. So subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Yes,
It's
I
just
love
my
that.
name. I launched on Locals because there's no censorship. That's my channel. Told my recent thing. Oh God, I had the worst date ever with this crazy leftist. So I told the story.
Just a week ago, was this terrible date.
Oh, it was miserable. Oh.
Karen Biden worshiping. Wow, all the things. Where did you meet them?
Oh God, on Tinder. Which by the way, I'd gotten banned from Tinder and I got myself unbanned and it was a mistake.
It was a mistake to get back on Tinder?
Yeah, it was a big mistake.
Not Tinder, Grindr, or whatever.
All of them. Ugh.
All of them.
But so I'm launching on Locals because there's no censorship there, so it's great. So my Locals is just Mike Harlow.locals.com. Awesome. My new Twitter is at not Mike Harlow because Mike Harlow was banned from Twitter.
That's smart. So very smart of you.
Not Mike Harlow is on Twitter. And I just made a new Instagram, which sucks because I'm starting from nothing, but it's I made a backup, so it's Mikey_back-it-up.
Back it up. I lost my Instagram too in March.
Really?
I had like 13,500. So I know that feeling. And I think I tried and then of course there's people on Instagram that are like, I can help you get it back. All you have to do is pay me $200. Yeah. And you're like, okay. Yeah, I'm like, show me some people whose accounts you've gotten back. Like, show me, I don't know, one testimonial. Oh no. It's like, okay, all right. Well, if you can't,
I was like, I'll pay you double that if you get it back for me, and I'll pay you.
Yeah.
And then never hear from them again.
I'm like,
no,
okay, wow.
I've gotten unbanned from Twitter before, Facebook before, Tinder before, so I'm hoping. You know what's actually funny? I don't know if they did this to you, but they unbanned me, and it was for like an hour. 1 hour.
Whoa. No, I never got that. They're probably like, say goodbye.
So you never got yours back? You just started from scratch?
No, never. I just started from scratch. Yeah, it was like right before I did Tim Pool. It was like March 20th or something. And I was just like, oh man, it makes me so sad because I had so many childhood photos of my mom and I was just like, that sucks. But and it's also like a little how Facebook used to be when it was not like a shithole full of censorship. It was like, oh yeah, you can go through photos through the years and it's kind of nice. But
you know what's interesting? I bet this happened with you too. That I really think the thing that they focus on with us wrong thinkers is who's growing, because for some reason, this is what happened with me with Twitter when I was banned too, but for some reason I just started growing very quickly with Instagram, that I went from 6,000 followers to 10,000 in about 2-3 weeks for some reason. And that was the moment I was banned. And that's exactly what happened with Twitter. Once I started growing a following was the moment I was banned.
And that started growing with WalkAway?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what it is that suddenly you get picked up in the algorithm or something and people start following you, but it's the moment that happens and you get on their radar.
Wow.
And I'm sure it's just one bitchy homo in middle management that I ticked off along the line who just hates me.
There's always a bitchy homo in middle management.
Oh, they're so horrible. They're so horrible.
I feel bad for these people. Yeah.
Again, I'm jealous of people who experience conversion therapy.
True. Everybody follow Mike on all his accounts. So excited to see what's coming up for WalkAway. I don't know if you see or talk to Brandon, tell him I say hi. I hope he's okay.
I will. I have no idea.
I get his newsletter. I get his emails.
Oh, good.
So
he's going to be back in a big way, and so is WalkAway. It's
okay.
Gonna be great.
Good. I'm excited. Yeah. And if you're listening, New York City, I guess I'll see you guys on Monday.
Yes, come on Monday. If you are in New York and you aren't showing up and doing stuff,
I think it's City Hall. Where are we going? Downtown somewhere?
City Hall, I think. Yeah.
City Hall.
Come hang out with us. Come hang out with us. It'll be fun.
It'll be great. We'll drink after. We'll drink after while we still can.
Yes.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me.